welcome olives and grapes. We are going to make some stuffing this afternoon. We're going to do a stuffed pork tenderloin, and what we're going to start with is the stuffing, of course. Now I'm using a butter infused olive oil, and I'm also going to be using a red apple balsamic. So start off with just your herb stuffing mix, whatever you like to use. I like Pepperidge Farm. I like the flavor of this. It's the not the cube, but the actual crushed bread. You want to make sure you have some good stock. This is a turkey stock. I like the stock instead of the bouillon. It has a little bit of a richer flavor. So to begin with, you're going to go ahead and saute. This is about 1 whole onion that I chopped, or diced rather, about 2 or 3 stalks of celery, and I went ahead and I sauteed those with our buttered olive oil, and I used our Montreal steak seasoning sauce, or blend. And I like this because, again, it's just got all the really good flavorings in there. It's got some good pepper and some garlic. So you're going to saute that, get everything really nice and soft. Then I added a little bit of mushrooms to that, about 3 or 4. Then I, diced those up as well. You want everything to be about the same size. And then, of course, I roasted some cranberries, and I added that to there as well. So you want to saute everything up, and you're going to add that to your stuffing mix. So I've got probably about 1.5 cups of the stuffing, and you just want to pour that in your bowl. And you want to make sure that your stock is warm when you add it to this. And you can also add a little bit of butter, but since I'm using the buttered olive oil, I'm just going to go ahead and use that. So you want to go ahead and add this stock to the stuffing. Now, I like my stuffing a little bit moist. So, you want to be careful. Add a little bit at a time. I put about 1 cup of stock in this measuring cup, and I may or may not use the whole cup, but you'll start to see. And like I said, I like my stuffing a little more moist than dry, and that certainly is up to you, what you prefer. And then to that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add just a little bit of our butter infused olive oil. And so you can see the bread is starting to get nice and soft. Okay, and then to this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add all those sauteed onions and celery and the cranberries. I also, to this, I forgot, but I also added some sun-dried tomatoes as well. And I use sun-dried tomatoes that are in olive oil. Okay, so you can see how nice and moist that stuffing is. Super simple, but really, really tasty. This is a nice tenderloin, a nice pork tenderloin. And when you buy these, they come 2 in a packet. So they're nice. You can go ahead and make them both, put one in the freezer, save it for later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to emulsify that oil and balsamic together like we've talked about in the past. So you're going to put enough olive oil in the bowl, just enough to hit the bottom of the blade on the immersion blender. So just kind of stick it in there, see how you're doing. And then I'm using our red apple balsamic. So you're going to go ahead and pour some of that in. I'm about 2 to 1. I like about 2 parts oil, 1 part balsamic. You certainly can taste it and see where it's at and add more. So you're going to emulsify. Okay, so you can see how nice and creamy it's gotten. Now what I'm going to do to this is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of our seasoning. And I'm going to crush some garlic right in here. So if you have a garlic press, obviously this is the best thing to use. But just go ahead and crush that in there. Okay. And then we're going to emulsify it again. Okay, so there we go. So we're going to go ahead and slice open our pork tenderloin. And I usually start with the thick side of the tenderloin, and I just place my hand on top of it. I have a fillet knife, and I find this works best, but you're just gonna cut through, not all the way to the other side, but just enough so that you can lay this flat, so it opens up flat. Okay, kind of, you know, just run your knife along the edge, kind of pat it down, kind of spread it out a little bit, get it nice and of course, you know, you want to let the meat come down to room temperature a little bit before you start messing around with it. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this Montreal seasoning, I'm going to sprinkle this on the inside of the pork tenderloin, and I'm going to take our emulsion and I'm going to go ahead and actually I'm going to drizzle this on there a little bit because I want to save some of this oil and balsamic for my sauce, so I don't want to contaminate the sauce. So just drizzle it, kind of pour it on, and then just rub it in with your brush. You're going to go ahead and brush on all that balsamic, and then I went ahead and I crushed another clove of garlic, and I'm just going to brush that in. Okay, just kind of mush it around, get it nice and covered. And this is a good time if you want to let this marinate for a little bit. This would be a good time to just let it sit and marinate for a little while. You can do it, you know, maybe 20-30 minutes. Remember, it is a tenderloin, so it's already a tender piece of meat. So not necessarily necessary to marinate it for hours on end, but you might want to just let it sit for a little bit. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to stuff the tenderloin. Okay, so what we're going to go ahead and stuff the pork tenderloin. So just, again, you're just going to kind of just scoop this on there. And you can see the nice cranberries in there. Oh, this looks good. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to take some string. Now you could, if you don't have butcher string, you could definitely use toothpicks. I've used those as well when I thought I had string and I didn't. So toothpicks work just as well. And you're just going to tie this together. And then we're going to put this in the oven. We're going to roast it for, well, depending on the size of your tenderloin, you know, you want to make sure you keep an eye on it. They don't take long, like I said, probably 35-40 minutes. And then of course, when you take it out of the oven, you want to let it, you know, rest for a little bit before you slice into it. And there'll be some really nice drippings from the sauce that you can make your gravy, or nice drippings from the cooking process that you can make your sauce with. So again, I'm just going to brush this balsamic on it again. And there you have it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put that in the oven, 350, for about 35-40 minutes. Again, keep an eye on it. You know, it doesn't take long for these to cook, but you certainly want to make sure that it's cooked through to temperature. Okay. Okay, so we've taken the pork tenderloin out of the oven. We've let it rest for about 10 minutes. And all I did was I cut the strings off. I used some, you know, kitchen scissors if you have them. And I sliced it on an angle. So, you know, you just want to go ahead and slice it all the way down. And then I went ahead and I took the drippings from the pork tenderloin and I added it to my emulsion with my buttered oil and my red apple balsamic. Now I like to do it in a pan, you know, make it warm. You can certainly, you know, make a little bit of a flour slurry if you want it to be a little bit thicker. If you just want it to be kind of like an au jus, then, you know, you can certainly just emulsify it together and then just brush it on over the top of it. So we're going to go ahead and plate this so you can see it. And there you have it, stuffed pork tenderloin.